Hi, welcome to an introduction to Adobe Illustrator. This video is divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is an overview of the Illustrator interface. Part 2 is a demonstration, and Part 3 shows you how to export. To begin, open Illustrator. Illustrator gives us some presets to choose from to open a new file. The presets include some of the most commonly used file sizes. To open a new file, I will click a new file. I will now get a new document window. At the top of the window, I can choose if I want to look into more presets. For this example, I will use a letter size page. So I will go to the Print tab and select the preset for letter size. On the right side of the window are the document details. It is important to name the document. I will call this document Company Logo. Notice the size of the document is measured in points. Points are used to measure typography, like the size of a font. However, I will make this document easier to read and change the measurements into inches. To change, I will click on the down arrow next to points and select inches. I will use this document to create a logo. The page may need to be vertical or horizontal depending on your project. I am choosing to use a horizontal page. In orientation, I'm going to select the horizontal portrait. Underneath are bleeds. I will not be printing directly from this document. I am creating this logo to be printed, so I'm keeping it as a CMYK color at 300 ppi, and I will create the new file by clicking on Create. Now, before adding anything to the document, I will save it. To save it, I will go to File on the top menu and select Save. I can choose to keep the file name or change it to something new. I will select where I want to save it. If I click on the down arrow to the right, notice that my locations expand. I will keep the format as Illustrator and then click on Save. As you're working on your file, remember to save it often. Illustrator has many tools. In this video, I will cover some of the most common tools. The toolbar will appear on the left side of the window. However, it can be moved around the workspace. To move, click and hold the top of the window and move it around to its new location. The toolbar can be freestanding or it can snap into other windows. If you move the toolbar close to other windows, you will notice a blue line will appear next to it. If you want to place the toolbar next to the other window, just release the toolbar when you see the blue line. I will cover the following tools: Selection, Direct Selection, Pen, Rectangle, Paint, Text, Eraser, and Fill and Stroke. The Selection tool selects entire objects. Its shortcut is V. The Direct Selection tool selects and modifies the anchor points. Its shortcut is A. The Pen tool is used to create paths with anchor points and handles that change the direction of the paths. Its shortcut is P. The Rectangle tool draws rectangles, and if you right-click on the tool, you will get options for other shapes like ellipses or polygon. The shortcut is M. The Paint tool draws with a brush. If you right-click on the tool, you will get access to the Pencil tool. The shortcut for the Paint tool is B. The Type tool creates text. If you right-click on the tool, you will get access to Type on Path and vertical text. The Eraser tool will erase. If you right-click, you will get access to scissors. The shortcut for the Eraser tool is Shift plus E. The Fill and Stroke tool selects an object's color. Fill is the interior of the object and Stroke is the outline. I will show you how to access some of the most used windows. When you open a new document, you will get some windows to the right of the workspace. To see all the windows available, click on Window on the top menu. You will now see a list of windows. The windows that have a check mark next to them are the visible windows. I will go over a few windows, starting with artboards. Artboards are pages in your document. You can create more artboards, delete them, or empty them. To see more options, click on the hamburger menu on the artboard window and select Artboard Options. Here, you can change the title of the artboard, the size, and orientation. Select some options for display, like showing the center mark, showing crosshairs, or hold video safe areas. To rearrange the artboards, click on Rearrange All Artboards in the hamburger menu. You can choose the layout of the artboards and their order, and you can even choose the number of columns and spacing. You will find your document layers in the Layers window. In Illustrator, you can choose to divide your document into layers. You will see more layers in each layer composed of all the objects and text you add to the document. In the Properties window, you will find the details regarding the object you have selected. You will also find properties of the tool you have selected. Using libraries, you will have access to any asset you have added to your libraries. Using libraries gives you access to graphics and colors throughout the Adobe suite. I will show you how to create an illustration of the Murchison Tower from an image. To begin, I will import a reference image. I will go to the top menu, click on File, and select Place. Then, I will find and select the image that I want to import and click on Place. Now the image is on my cursor and I can choose where I want to place it. To place it, I just have to click to release the image. I am using it as a reference, so I will place it in my artboard. It is a huge image, so I have to make it smaller by using the selection tool. I will click on the corner and hold. Then I will click and hold Shift on my keyboard as I move my cursor to keep the aspect ratio consistent. I will move my cursor until I get the size that I want. Now I can click and hold and move the image to the location that I want. I will be drawing on the image, so I will lock my image layer so I don't accidentally move it or delete it. I will go into the Layers window, find the image layer, and click next to the eye icon to lock the layer. I'm going to start with the top of the tower. I will click on the zoom tool and place it on the top of the tower. To zoom in place, I will click Shift on my keyboard as I click. To move the image, I will use the space bar on my keyboard to activate the hand tool and then use the cursor to move the image. It's not a simple shape, so I will use the pen to recreate it. I will go to the toolbar and select the pen tool. I will create an outline, so I will click on the Fill and Stroke tool and select None for Fill. I will click around the top shape of the tower in order to recreate the shape. When I complete the shape, I will get a circle as the pen reaches the first anchor point I made. This means that if I click on the first anchor point, I will go from having a line to creating a shape. Now I will change the color of the shape to replicate the original color. While I have the shape selected, I will click on the eyedropper tool, and then select a color from the image by clicking over the image. Now I will show you how to use the rectangle tool. I will click on the rectangle tool and click on the corner of the tower and hold then drag the rectangle to fit the shape of the side of the tower. Notice that due to the perspective, the shape gets smaller as it gets higher. I will use the Direct Selection tool to fix this. I will click on the Direct Selection tool. Then, I will click on the anchor I want to move. Once the anchor is active, I can click and hold to move the anchor to the edge of the shape. If I wanted to recreate the clouds, I could use the paintbrush. I will click on the paintbrush tool. Then, in the Properties window, I will select white to match the color of the clouds. Then I will click and move the brush to create the shape of the clouds. Under Brush, I can use the down arrow and select the shape. Above, next to Stroke, I can increase or decrease the stroke size. I'm going to continue working on this with the tools I have introduced. I have completed tracing the image, but I do need to do some cleanup. Notice how the brush strokes are outside of the artboard. To erase, I can use the Eraser tool. I will click on the Eraser tool. In the Properties window, I will increase the size of the brush, then I will just erase around the edges. Now that I have completed the tower and the clouds, I would like to add some text next to the tower. I will use the text tool. I will click on the text tool. I will now go to the properties window and select the font. Then I will select the size of the text. I would like to place the text next to the tower. I will click where I would like to place my text. Now I will enter my text. I would like to save this in my libraries to use in the future in other projects. I will click on the libraries window. Then I will select the artwork by clicking on Select on the top menu and selecting All. Then, in the libraries window, I will click on the plus icon. Here, I can choose to add the fill and stroke, the graphics, text, or all. I'm going to select all. Now, I can access this from any other application in Adobe CC. Export means you can save the contents as another file extension. I will use this illustration in other backgrounds. To export, I go to File on the top menu and select Export, then select Export As. The file will automatically have a saved name, but you can change it. Then I will select where I want to save it. In Format, you can decide what format you would like to use. In this case, I will save it as a PNG. A PNG will allow me to view the content and have a transparent background. I will click on Export to complete. We have now completed the introduction to Adobe Illustrator. Now you know how to create a new file, create using tools in Windows, and export. Now you're ready to create endless illustrations.